So anyway, that's another topic for another day. Are there any questions that we can?
There's many.
Many questions. Oh, great.
Go there first.
Where do we go first?
Here? Yeah. Everybody gets one question and then we...
Question from Varun. Why does God make conscious entities?
Why do you make babies? Huh? To enjoy. People want to make other beings like themselves. It's a natural urge to reproduce. Why? Because that same urge is there in God. We have the desire to reproduce because God has a desire to reproduce. And because we are emanations from God, we have similar qualities. Just like the sunshine is coming from the sun, and the sun is glowing, bright. Huh? So the sunshine is also like that. The sun is very hot, so the sunshine is also hot. Try to understand. Any quality that we have, any urge that we have, is because that same urge or that same quality is present in God. And the difference is, in God is complete and perfect and pure. But because we are tiny, we tend to manifest these qualities in an impure way, imperfect way, incomplete way, you see. So if you think about this leads to some very profound realizations, which, like I said, is another story for another day. But you can think about that and you can draw so many conclusions.
Question from Devesh. How can one consistently feel the consciousness? I happen to feel it only occasionally, or should I say rarely. Most of the time is spent longing for that moment when I feel it.
Well, you have to be conscious of your consciousness. It's like asking, how do I wake up in the morning? Huh? How do I know that I'm full when I eat a good meal? How do I know when I'm not hitting myself over the head with a hammer anymore? Huh? Are you conscious? If so, you can be conscious of being conscious, or you are conscious of being conscious to some degree. Huh? So when you start making that consciousness of being conscious the center of your consciousness, then all these symptoms of conscious awareness will begin to manifest. So that's the whole point. I mean, meditation is really the whole point of human life. To get to that stage is really a major milestone in a person's growth. So, yeah, we should all make that a priority, to be conscious of our consciousness.
Question from Marina. So we can achieve this state of being conscious of our consciousness in the neophyte stage of the devotional service?
Anybody can do it. It's a natural ability. Huh? It doesn't require anything special. You just have to want to. You just have to sit down and figure out how to do it. You know, it's like, you know, rubbing your stomach and patting your head at the same time. You could say, well, how can you do that? Well, I can't tell you that. You know, it's like you just have to sit down and fool around with it until you get it. And that's all I can say. I mean, it's like, yes, you should do this. How? I don't know. I can't explain it. You just sit there and fool around with it until you get it. Like, how do I ride a bicycle? Well, you just hop on, you know. Yeah, you'll crash the first few times, but that's all right. That's how you learn. Eventually, you'll get to where you don't crash.
Question from Rochana Dev. Isn't it that devotional life begins on the transcendental platform? We just have to become purified?
It's already there. Our whole devotional life is already existing. Eternally. Eternally in the past and eternally in the future. Our real identity has always been there. Just we forgot about it. And this process of devotional service is how we uncover the real identity that's there below the surface. See, because we've forgotten who we are. We're suffering from amnesia. So what's the treatment for amnesia? Do you know? They take the patient and then they bring in people who knew him before he lost his memory. And they talk and they tell him, do you know, you and I went here and we did this and that, and then this happened and da 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 da. Don't you remember? And at first the guy goes, no, I don't remember. But then eventually, by repeating these things over and over again, he gradually gets back his memory. Oh yeah, now I remember. And usually it's one thing that keys it all in. One memory or one thought that when he's reminded of it, suddenly the whole thing comes back and he's cured. So similarly, as soon as we remember Krishna, as soon as we think of Krishna, then this is the cure for our spiritual amnesia. Because everything else that we need to remember, that we've forgotten, is connected with Krishna. So as soon as this remembrance of Krishna is the key.
Question from Don. Would it be right to say, when I reside in consciousness, I see my mind, otherwise I am led by mind, and consciousness becomes covered?
Yeah, if you identify with your mind, then you can't see it, because you think it's you. Just like I can't see my own eyeball. But I can see my hand, I can see my nose if I look the right way. But I can't see my eyeball. You see? So I can see my mind only if I know that I am different from my mind. Only if I make a distinction between myself, my consciousness, and my mind. Then I can see my mind, and I can see the thoughts in my mind as something separate from myself. Otherwise, if I'm identified with the mind, I think that my mind is myself and that my thoughts are something real. But actually, thoughts are just dreams in the mind. Isn't it? And they're always about the past or the future. Oh, I remember when I did this when I was a kid. But I would really like to do that. And then, oh, I feel this way about that and that way about this. And all these other things. Man, I mean, if you sit and watch your mind for just a few minutes, it's like, it's just a dream. It's just a dream, but you're awake, but you're still dreaming. And at night, when we go to sleep, what happens is we forget about everything else, and we're just in the mind. And so the mind goes on all these trips. Oh yes, I'm going to go here and then think this, and then maybe I'll do that, and it doesn't make. You look back at your dreams in the morning, and they're completely nonsensical. Well, guess what? Your mind is like that all the time. You just sit and watch it for a while, and you'll understand what I'm talking about. The mind is like anywhere but here, anytime but now, anything but this. And anyone but who I really am. That's the mind. So instead of being in the mind, we have to become rooted in consciousness, because consciousness is who we really are. Then we look on the mind, we look on the intelligence, we look at the false ego, these things that seem very subtle. We can see them very clearly. You see? So one should understand that all these things are separate from the real self. So this is the thing, this is why actors go crazy. You want to know why? Because they're dealing with false ego. An actor goes on a stage and he has to pretend to be somebody else, someone that he's not, right? And after a while, this naturally leads to the question, well, who am I really? And without transcendental knowledge, you cannot answer this question. You can doubt that who I think I am is not really who I am, but you can't ever come to a positive conclusion. Oh,